Welcome back, subscribers, and welcome new viewers. And today I'm going to be reading from the Chiron book, my Chiron book here. And it's going to be Chiron in aspect to Sun. So natal Chiron in aspect to your natal Sun. And the hard aspects are conjunct, opposition, square, and the easy aspects, trine and sextile. And I want to thank each and every one of you who have subscribed and who like and share my videos, because that helps my whole channel to circulate to more and more individuals just like you who need this information. So thank you all so very much. And I want to give a special thanks to Christy for this reading. All right, so thank you, Christy, because this is not just going to help Christy, it's going to help each and every one of you who have natal Chiron in aspect to your natal Sun. All right, so let's get going here. When Chiron is in aspect to the Sun, there is a wound to the solar masculine principle, and thus our experience of individuality, soulness, and purpose. Our sense of being at the creative center of our own world may be damaged, and we may make someone else the center of our universe. And I want to tell each and every one of you, I also have this placement. It is conjunct in my chart. So I do understand, experientially understand. Our sense of being at the creative center of our own world may be damaged, and we may make someone else the center of our universe. We then promote their interests and help them to shine, basking in their reflected glory, living our Chiron Sun aspect vicariously. We are able to foster the talents and self-expression of others, but may discount our own worth and then feel despair and envy. Lacking the sense of an inner personal center, we could be especially prone to being taken over by archetypal energies, for good or ill. Okay. What they're saying is they're using Reverend Jim Jones as one of those examples. Okay. Conversely, we may be charismatic and shine brightly. We succeed in becoming the center of attention, being loved and admired by many, but somehow we cannot recognize and enjoy it. For me, I was the first one. I never wanted to be in the spotlight. It always scared me to death. And if you would have told me that I would be here doing this now, I never would have believed it back then. Okay. Our parents may have been somewhat center. No, excuse me. Let me back up. Where was that? Being loved and admired by many, but somehow we cannot. Okay, here it is. In childhood, we perhaps lacked the experience of being at the center of our parents' lives. Our parents may have been somewhat childlike themselves, needing validation of their worth from us, and thus we may have the wound of narcissistic isolation. If we were not sufficiently mirrored and validated for our uniqueness, we probably learned very early how to survive by delighting others, reflecting their aspirations, and being only that which pleased them. I did that. We may adopt many different persona, but feel estranged from ourselves. No matter what eminence we achieve, we feel phony. Our false self is seen, while our true self may weep somewhere in the background. We could feel the need to display ourselves and only feel real when on show. We may be oversensitive to criticism or confrontation, which we speak to avoid with an exaggerated panache. On the other hand, we may be afraid to shine, as our inner being has a painful history of not being accepted and validated. We look everywhere for a mirror and see only our own reflection. The sun is the only heavenly body that casts a direct shadow on the earth. The full moon casts shadows, but its more diffuse light is reflected from the sun. This dark side of the sun is relevant when Chiron aspects the sun. It represents egomania, narcissism, a belief that one's purpose is God ordained and therefore any means justify the attaining of it. With these aspects, we can become authoritarian and desire to be in sole control of life and everyone we come into contact with. We may be willful, inflexible, contemptuous, and always need to be right. Coming face to face with this controlling, destructive, and autocratic side of the masculine principle is often a difficult part of the journey of those with Chiron sun aspects. On the positive side, these aspects can signify the ability to achieve and to fight for what we want in life. We could have natural qualities of leadership, as people will warm to our sense of noble purpose. Some with Chiron sun aspects gather a following, but some become ardent followers of others, projecting their individuality onto them, emulating them, and living in their shadow. Women with Chiron sun aspects often lacked confidence in their masculine side, and it may be difficult to embark on creative enterprises that require focus, goal orientation, and organization. They may live in the father's shadow, modeling themselves on his unconscious images and expectations of women. They are sometimes preoccupied in finding the right man. And this usually means one through whom they can live out their own masculine side, and from whom they can take their sense of identity, purpose, and achievement. With Chiron sun aspects, the image of the father will be colored by Chironian themes. And Chiron, for those of you that don't know, is called the wounded healer, because wherever Chiron's placement is where you are going to call to yourself those specific injuries, those woundedness, it's going to bring that out to the forefront. You're going to be triggered. You're going to have experiences where you will be wounded. Wherever your Chiron is, whatever house it's in, whatever zodiac sign placement that is specific for that Chiron injury. It's going to be different for all of us. Absolutely. He may have been weak, ill, impotent, wounded, absent, or insubstantial, or at least perceived in that light. And it's talking about our fathers. He may also have been a wounding influence, violent and rough. Sometimes, however, the father is a spiritual mentor, guru, and guide. He is supportive, wise, and fosters individual growth. The son of such a man may have problems, feeling unable to compete, and perhaps even rejecting the positive attributes he has inherited. He may travel a long and circuitous route to reclaim them. Women with Chiron sun are sometimes groupies, projecting the image of savior or healer. They pursue charismatic men, gurus, musicians, or other public figures. They try to be their counterparts, the wounded woman, the damsel in distress, or the wife of the great man. On the other hand, they may see men as wounded. They may attract lame ducks who need emotional or financial support and who in turn wound them. With Chiron in aspect to the sun, we have a natural ability to reflect to others their sense of self, which is often the very thing we cannot experience inwardly ourselves. We may be magnetic and attractive, but perhaps also very lonely, if we allow ourselves to feel it. Men with this aspect sometimes feel responsible for healing or resolving something inherited from their father. Some have a gift for positive fathering, whether or not they have their own children. They could work with children, facilitate creativity, or help foster individuality in others by discussing goals and objectives from a position of respect and emotional detachment. Okay, and I'm just fast forwarding because that's it gets very specific, and this is a general reading. And so any of you who would like to a written copy of this so that you can read that specific, be my guest. Leave me an email, or if you send me a comment, leave your email address in that comment so that I can. Okay. A Chiron sun aspect is a powerful stimulus to the process of individuation. There has always been a connection between horses and the sun. The latter connection is due not merely to the fact that the horse was the vehicle of the sun god, but because through its swiftness, strength, and activity, it was itself a symbol of the sun. We have seen that horses are important in many shamanic cultures. The symbolic means for magical flight or ecstasy. The initiatory cycle of the shaman includes a stage which Joan Halifax calls the solarization of consciousness, where we move from the periphery to the center of our life. With Chiron aspecting the sun, the healing of our suffering may come through the recognition of the wider context of life and a sense of our individual place in it, where the laughter of compassion wells up from the human heart. Oh, how beautiful. I want to read that again. That is beautiful. With Chiron aspecting the sun, the healing of our suffering may come through the recognition of the wider context of life and a sense of our individual place in it, where the laughter of compassion wells up from the human heart. With Chiron aspecting the sun, we are called upon not to shine for ourselves alone, but for the greater glory of God. How beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. Well, that is all I have for you. Until next time.